What's up? Ryan K here with Refer.io with another episode of Ask Ryan Anything. So today we're going to talk about the requirements that you see in a job ad and kind of how to think through them. The question comes from Max, and he wants to know, how seriously do I need to take the required skills and experience section? If I lack one or two of the requirements, should I not bother, or should I apply and let them know my strengths? So this is kind of a loaded question, but let me try to unpack it a little bit. Number one, you need to look at the job ad itself and really just ask yourself this one question. How many requirements are in there? Now, if there's only a handful of requirements, like 5, 10 at the most, then most likely that employer has actually thought through the requirements, and those are most likely fairly strict requirements when there's only a handful in there. Things like your age, if it's a bartending job or a driving job or a certain license or anything like that. Now, if you instead, so that's number one, think about the quantity. If there's a giant list of them, then most likely they've overinflated those requirements. And so you're going to have to go through and figure out which ones are actual hard requirements. So then we think about hard versus soft requirements. Hard requirements have to do with age, a license that's required, a certification, something like that, versus say education for a job that doesn't actually require it to do the job, or years of experience in a given field like sales or marketing. And so if they're hard requirements, then you could say, okay, they're probably more serious about these, but more of the ranges, 3 to 5 years, more than 7 years of experience in a field, in an industry, etc., are probably less important. Now, how do I actually judge it? Instead of thinking about the job description itself or the job ad itself, go to LinkedIn or go to Indeed's resume database. You can get to the resume database by acting like an employer. Go to the top, click on employers, go click on search resumes. You can also Google this and run a search for resumes of people who actually do this job that you're applying for, preferably at the company. Now, the bigger the company is, the more likely you'll be able to find somebody's resume or their LinkedIn profile that currently does the job. Now, if you can't find somebody's resume or LinkedIn profile doing the job at that company, find the same job at one of their competitors. And here's what I want you to do. I put more weighting on how many of the boxes I check when I compare my resume to somebody doing the job versus how much power I put on the actual requirements in the job description, because I can tell you for a fact that most of them are overstated. Now, so if we compare the resume, we'll get a better feel of how close we are to that person. Now, finally, how you trump this. In the question, it said, should I let them know my other strengths and the things that I do have to offer? The number one way to make sure you even get a chance to make that case is to be a referral. And I can't stress this enough that you looked at the ad and you said, okay, there's a few things I'm missing, but I believe I can do the job. Hey, I looked at the resumes of people currently doing the job and I feel like I'm pretty close. The number one way to be able to go in and make your case is to get an interview. And the number one way to get an interview is to be a referral, not just come from the job boards. And so don't apply, pull back, use LinkedIn, use Facebook. You can watch one of my other videos on how to become a referral. But you need to become a referral from an employee. You need to network your way into the job. The number one way to get over the idea that you do not fit is to be referred in. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And when the what you know is less than the requirements in the job, then you need to put more emphasis on the who you know. And that means finding an employee so you can put their name on your application, applying directly through the website where you actually can put that name in. After you apply, reaching out to the employee and letting them know you applied so that they can bring it up, networking via LinkedIn directly to the HR person or the manager of that job, amplifying your LinkedIn profile. That's where you make that case about who you are and what you have to offer, even though you don't have maybe all the required education or experience. And so that is how you go about solving for this. It is more effort, it is more work. It does require that you slow down. But since you have a 5 times better chance of getting an interview when you're a referral, it means that one application is equal to 5+ applications where you just threw them across the fence on the job board. So it's worth the time to slow down and do this the right way. Otherwise, you're just going to get frustrated that you keep applying for jobs and you don't get an interview. You'll keep thinking of going back to your resume, but there's nothing you can do about it at that point. You can't increase your experience. And what you're really missing is the connection. Do you have a connection to the company that you can use to get your foot in the door? Hopefully this video finds you well. If you have a question for me, whether it's about how to find a job, how to prepare your resume, how to prepare for an interview, whether it's how to negotiate, or even after you get hired, how to jumpstart your job, how to become a top performer, how to progress, how to move up, move over, or even start moving out into a different industry, please go visit Refer.io, click Ask Ryan, and send me a question. You can also send me an email, askryan@refer.io.com, and I'd love to answer your question. Until next time, good luck with your career.